The Eagles showdown against a familiar face this weekend. Can they get some revenge? Meanwhile, A.J. Brown not speaking to the media, but is it actually an issue or is it being overblown? What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into A to Z Philly. You know the drill. Hit the like button, subscribe to the show, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of the coverage. The Eagles going up against the 3-win Cardinals this weekend. What do you think? Will they finally have one of those blowout games? We've been waiting for this Philadelphia Eagles talented roster to just destruct the team. And I don't think there's a better opponent. I don't think there's a game you could circle more on the calendar than this one. And we will talk about why. But give me your predictions down below in the comments section. And before we jump into all of it, a shout out to our sponsor here of today's show, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up with the code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. All right, before we jump into the game and all that, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with that, but there's this whole commotion about A.J. Brown, right? The last couple of days, A.J. is a distraction and he's a bad teammate and it's over the line. It's out of, the ordinary business for this Eagles team. Like, you have to speak to the media and hold yourself a certain way. And people are even talking about TO and flashbacks and all this stuff. Let's take a deep breath. Okay, let's relax. A.J. Brown, based off these first two seasons, and we talked about the records that he is about to break potentially in these last couple games. A.J. Brown has been nothing short of spectacular for the Philadelphia Eagles. And when you talk about big name wide receivers, you talk about these guys, of course they have some type of ego. I don't think A.J. Brown is really near any of them. Sure, he gets frustrated sometimes and he's had these exchanges on the sidelines with whether it's Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni. And, he had an exchange with a couple fans on Twitter, etc. This is normal stuff. These guys are human beings. And it's getting so tiresome as it feels like the local media is trying to create narratives about A.J. Brown when in fact, all the guy has done has come here and produce. He felt disrespected at the end of his Tennessee tenure. He comes to Philadelphia, gets his extension, and the guy has had two of the best receiving seasons in Eagle history. In fact, is it fair to say right now that maybe he and Devontae Smith are some of the best wide receivers this team has ever had? Sideline Eagles put this on Twitter. He says it's time to have that convo. Finally, that AJ and Devontae aren't just the best wide receiver duo in Eagles history, but the two best wide receivers the Birds have ever had. Two players having back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and they're still very young. Like, they're just getting started, and they're still building that chemistry with Jalen Hurts. And even with all the offensive issues this year, it's time to just take a step back, lay off of A.J. Brown, and let him be. I think it's being completely overblown. Look at what happened in week 2. Everybody tried to make this whole commotion in week 2, and they debated, is AJ and Jalen beefing? Do they have a damaged relationship? Blah, 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 because of one argument on the sideline, which happens every single week. And what does AJ Brown do? He steps up to the plate, and then he goes out and sets NFL history, things that have never been done in a game. 6 straight 125 receiving yard games, and just absolutely throws that under the bridge. So I'm just tired of people talking about A.J. Brown. Let the guy go out there, be himself, and he hasn't done anything to damage this team. And he's going to be the best version of himself come playoff time. I have no issues about this wide receiver core. And A.J. Brown didn't speak to the media after last game, and deservedly so. He feels like we feel. He's upset. He's pissed. This team should be blowing teams out by 30 with the talent that they have. And I feel like he sees it eye to eye with the fans. Devontae Smith on why A.J.'s upset, quote, "We might have two different answers, but I cannot speak for him." And that's a perfect answer. Devontae's very young, but he's very mature. And he never gets out of his line. And he just, he says the politically correct thing. And, he has good PR training, okay? Jalen Hurts was asked the same question about A.J. Brown. And A.J. didn't speak to the media for a couple days. I don't know if he's speaking to them today or not. Either way, I don't care. Here's what Jalen Hurts said, quote, "I don't know. I don't want to speak for him. I know he's a competitor. He demands a lot out of himself. And that goes for everyone else in the locker room. He has a standard for himself. He wants that from everyone around him. And you know, A.J. Brown could have went out there at the end of last season and he said, you know, I got paid, I fed my family, and I've done everything I needed to this point. Sure, he wants to win. He had the best receiving year in Eagles history last year. He's going to top it this year. He could have went out there and said, you know what? I'm satisfied. I'm good. But what does he do? He got even better this year, and he demands greatness like Jalen Hurts says. Those two have a great relationship off the field, and he wanted him here for a reason. Okay, so A.J. Brown should have zero flack from anybody. If he goes out there and says, it's all about me, and I only want the ball and everybody else doesn't deserve it, whatever, that's a different story. He's just not saying anything. He's locked in. He's focused. He's trying to get on the right track, and I personally have no issue with it. Here's A.J. Brown today at practice, and, you know, he's out there stretching, right? Reporters are just, you know, always trying to make stuff up about him, but there he is, just minding his own business, doing his thing. I don't blame him. And here's A.J. Brown. People were posting this clip from when Britton Covey had that huge 54-yard punt return. Who was the first guy to go up and celebrate with him? It was A.J. Brown. So we can shut down the narrative that he's a bad teammate and he doesn't care about other success, etc., etc., etc. All right, I'm glad that's past us. I'm glad we don't have to worry about A.J. Brown, who right now is looking like he's going to be the best receiver in Eagles history. Okay, he's not out there doing bench presses on his front yard. So anyway, let's talk about this game. There's not much to say. The Cardinals stink. John Gannon stinks. I would not be surprised if he is one and done. And yes, this is a revenge game. The Eagles need to get him back for the way he acted after departing, okay? We didn't like John Gannon. We didn't like his philosophy. He did help this team out in certain ways, but there were times where he was very delusional and he acted like nothing was wrong, almost how this team is this year, where there's some people who say, oh, if you criticize them, even though they're winning, you know, you're an idiot, right? John Gannon was letting up 80 to 85 completion percentage for almost, I'd say, like 8 straight weeks 2 years ago. And he said, well, because we're winning, like we're fine, right? Then after the Super Bowl, which we found out he was interviewing, what was it, the night or a couple nights before the Super Bowl for a job with Arizona, the worst team in a damn league. And he was not focused on the Super Bowl. Eagles had it ran up. They blew a lead in the third quarter and they ended up losing the biggest game. And it's tough to get back. So yes, Eagle fans are mad. Then he went to Arizona this offseason and said, oh, the Eagle fans hated me, even though we were 10-1 and you know, I had the best, the most sacks, the best defense in the league. People hated me. He's a crybaby. That's what he is. And I don't like him. I really don't. I wish him good luck, but I hope the Eagles stomp on him by 30 this week. This is the game. Like, you're going up against practice dummies, okay? Every team's an NFL team. You're going up against one of the worst teams. One of the worst, just like you were last week. You didn't take advantage of it. You almost blew the game. Time to go out there and beat down this team. And I think guys are going to take it personal. I think they're going to take it personal. John Clark says here, Eagles should be able to score some points. They're giving up 27 a game. This is a defensive head coach giving up 27 plus per game, giving up 147 rushing yards a game. Will the Eagles run the ball? Will they get Swift involved? The guy who should have been the MVP of last game, the guy who saved the game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Will they run the ball? We'll see. We'll see. But fact of the matter is, whether they're running, using the air attack, they should be able to annihilate this Cardinals defense. And if they don't, if they squeak out a win, I do not want to hear people saying, oh, well, they won. Why are you mad? Why are you mad? No, they better blow this team out. If you are serious, this is the perfect game to go out there and get your swagger back. Nick Sirianni talked about John G. He says, quote, I'm always rooting for him except for this week. I want him to feel so freaking uncomfortable, which I'm already sensing that that's going to happen. When he walks into the stadium, he never wants to come back to Philly again. And John Gannon was here, if you remember, with Minnesota, right? When the Eagles had him in the NFC Championship. And now they're going up against the Cardinals, and it's his first time as a head coach. And I still don't know why he left, right? He could have helped this team and even built a bigger portfolio for himself this year, but he left, and he took the money, and he took the job. And the Cardinals stink. And sure, they're banged up. They have so many injuries. If you look at the injury report for the Eagles, it looks like Slay is not going to play, until the end of the year. But looks like they're getting all these other reinforcements back. Maddox should be good, which is nice to see. And you look at the Cardinals, man, the injury list is piling up. And even today, John Gannon said that Hollywood Brown is going to be out for the rest of the year. They put him on IR. So, look, man, at the end of the day, Eagles are not facing the top weapon. There's no reason you shouldn't beat this team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles are not like, 13-point favorites in this game. I don't even know what they are right now, but this is the game you have to go out, beat them. It should be personable. I'm sure some of these players do appreciate John Gannon and what he did for some of their careers, but at the end of the day, they didn't come up in the biggest game possible, and he was distracted. And this is a perfect game. Get your hugs in before the game and then talk your smack. Go out there, beat this team down. Then you got one more game. By the way, 49ers lost. They were exposed. I don't know what to think about the NFL anymore. All right, all these teams are up and down. It's going to be a wild journey of a playoff run this year. And if the Eagles can get their mojo back, I actually feel confident now that they can go on a run because of how the other teams have been wishy-washy as well. Cowboys have a big game. They've lost a couple, so we'll see, man. I don't see any sure team right now. This is a perfect game to get your mojo back. You have to do it now. You have to do it now, and you still have a chance for the number 1 seed. So we'll see if the Eagles can get this job done this week. You guys give me all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are you looking for this week? Appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.